Hello, welcome. In this video, we will study the Glacial Cascade Miner Saboteur starter build. Saboteur is a great class to start a new league as. Traps are a common way to go, but this guide focuses on mines. These are also great due to one item, Tremor Rod. With this staff, you can turn any spell into a mine and save a socket. It's also very cheap and goes along with Chaom's Heart. The idea behind remote miner builds is to plant mines that cast linked spells when detonated. With Tremor Rod, these are detonated one extra time. Skitterbots will additionally re-arm mines detonated by them. It triples the value of each mine, resulting in much more damage. The build is a great starter, but it requires some defensive layers to stay alive. Before the mine gets detonated, enemies can close the distance and hit you. It is rarely a concern. The Saboteur is quite a durable class. When fighting bosses, you can stack a lot of mines on top of each other and slay them instantly. Planting mines temporarily reserves some mana, but it is still manageable to keep Hatred, Grace, and Skitterbots all at the same time. It's a critical strike build with a nearly 100% chance to deal critical strike with a very high critical strike multiplier, but it is still not suited for the endgame aspirational content. Glacial Cascade is a spell that creates several ice cascades in front of the player that shatters nearly instantly to deal area damage. It's the most popular cold skill to put in the Tremor Rod. It deals converted cold damage, making it suitable for the Heat Shiver helmet too for some extra fire damage. Saboteurs rely mostly on evasion rating and spell suppression as the main defensive layers. It's easy to get and very efficient with Born in the Shadows keystone. Other defensive advantages of a Saboteur are his immunity to Ignite, Shock, and rapid life regeneration. Clear speed is good. The Glacial Cascade is slim but can reach opponents far away, and there is a lot of them. Single target damage is fine for a starter build. It kills tier 16 map bosses rather swiftly. It is very cheap. A 5-link Tremor Rod is all you need. This Glacial Cascade Miner is a league starter build, which makes it very budget-friendly. Tremor Rod is the only required unique that doesn't cost much if you want to start off with just 3 or 4 links on it. There are also some other items and flasks that we heavily recommend. Heat Shiver. The helmet we would recommend. With Bone Chill and Skitterbots, the chill effect will be high, resulting in a lot more fire damage. Carcass Jack is a solid and inexpensive armor for this build, which greatly increases your AoE and DPS. Tremor Rod, an amazing staff for this build. It's a perfect leveling weapon and also grants free 7th link later on for a massive DPS bonus. The price is a defining feature of the build, so this overly expensive Ashes of the Stars amulet probably won't find its way here, but if you decided to push it to its limits, go for it. Mark of the Shaper grants added lightning damage and a very high bonus to spell damage if you have an Elder Ring in your other slot. Watcher's Eye is rarely a budget item, but if you want to upgrade your build eventually, it's one of the easiest ways to do so. You can find a lot of powerful hatred-related aura modifiers on this jewel that will boost your damage significantly. Chaom's Heart is extremely good due to the 500 extra maximum life. The lack of sockets is not a big deal. Your main setup is located in the weapon. Maximum life, elemental resistances, spell suppression chance, and evasion rating are the most influential defensive layers. Try to reach 100% spell suppression chance, around 4,000 maximum life, and 20,000 evasion. For more damage, seek mostly generic elemental or physical spell damage modifiers with critical strike. Maximum mana and mana regeneration are also of use. On your rare helmet, simply aim for high defensive stats mentioned a second ago, and possibly some extra attributes. Rare body armor. Anything with some life, additional critical strike chance, and elemental resistances will do just fine here. Get a pair of rare boots with preferably 2 elemental resistances, dexterity, life, and movement speed bonuses. Rare gloves should get you some defensive mods, but the more expensive ones can increase your damage too. A belt with the highest bonus to life and elemental resistances you can afford is what you should look for. Grab an amulet with the highest bonuses out of all selected stats. You can skip elemental resistances as they should be capped with the other equipment. On the rings, look again for life and resistances. There's not much more to seek here. Maximum life is the most important bonus on all the jewels, but you should try to get at least one damage amplifying mod. Flasks. The unique flasks are cheap. At Ziri's promise is good for damage as you will reap both the benefits of damage modifiers. Taste of Hate is also great for physical to cold builds, such as this one. Get one with instant life recovery on use, and mana, if you need one. Use Diamond Flask for an increased critical strike chance, a Jade Flask for more evasion rating, or a Quartz Flask for a spell suppression chance and phasing. Suffixes should get you more evasion or critical strike chance. Now for the skill setups. Glacial Cascade is your main DPS spell that deals massive AoE damage. It has its base physical damage fully converted to cold. Very simple skill, no complexity. Put it in your Tremor Rod for a Blast Chain Mine support which will turn this spell into mine. Link it with Trap and Mine damage, Hypothermia, Power Charge on critical, increased critical damage, and Inspiration support gems. Use Hatred, the best DPS aura for this build. It adds a ton of extra cold damage directly from its bonus and via extra damage conversion. Skitterbots are minions that chill and shock nearby enemies. They also help you detonate mines and increase your mine damage. Here we link them with Bone Chill to increase the chill effect and gain more damage from Heat Shiver Helmet. But it's optional, it makes it reserve more mana. Link them with Enlighten support for increased mana reservation efficiency. We've also used Grace for an increased and added evasion rating. Arcanist brand is a brand that will use linked spells, in this case, Frostbomb and Frostbite. Frostbomb applies cold exposure to affected enemies, reducing their cold resistance and life regeneration rate. Assassin's Mark is the best curse for this build. It increases your chance to critically hit enemies and critical strike damage. Dash is the recommended movement skill for this build. You can also use Flame Dash, which is up to your personal preference. Link it with Second Wind support for an additional charge, and a low-level Arcane Surge. It grants a buff that increases your spell damage and mana regeneration rate. Immortal Call is one of the best guard skills for this build, which grants a brief, but very potent defensive buff. Link it with Cast when damage taken and increased duration support gems to activate it automatically after taking damage. You can keep that at a low level for higher activation frequency. You can use the Vol Righteous Fire spell to get more spell damage for a brief moment. It will cost you some life, so be careful with it. We recommend helping Alira for increased mana regeneration rate, crit multiplier, and resistances. Killing all the bandits for 2 additional passive points is also a valid option. The Pantheon is not overly important as all the gods offer valuable benefits. We've picked the Soul of Lunaris for movement speed and reduced physical damage taken per nearby enemy. The Soul of Garukin is a great minor god. It reduces the effect of shock, making you harder to kill. Your life pool is not very big, so being hit while shocked might be dangerous. Here on the passive skill tree, we went mostly for the mine-related clusters, critical strike nodes, spell suppression, maximum life, and evasion rating. Charisma and influence notables will help with keeping all the auras. For masteries, pick the life ones for more maximum life. As critical masteries go for increased damage against unique enemies and increased effect of non-damaging ailments. Elemental Mastery offers again, an increased effect of non-damaging ailments, that is chill and shock from skitterbots. For Reservation Mastery, pick the increased effect of auras. For Evasion Mastery, Grace Reservation Efficiency. Spell Suppression Mastery offers increased critical strike chance, which is good with a high chance to suppress spell damage. As for the Mine Masteries, we recommend increased cooldown for skitterbots, life regeneration, and increased damage dealt or reduced damage taken per mine. That is all for this Glacier Miner build. We recommend trying it out in the next league as a starter. That is if there won't be any major changes to any of its vital components. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.